I wish to thank the National Defense College for driving impact and operational agility in peace support operations in West Africa and beyond. The work of the National Defense College also testifies to Nigeria's continued commitment and contribution to UN peacekeeping over the many decades. I am particularly grateful for the invitation to address the participants of the course on building resilience for national security and development. This is an important and timely topic. In today's global context, the political conditions for UN peace operations to play a role are changing. Some of our many challenges include finding creative ways of contributing to peace and security in collaboration with partners, and adapting operations to respond to a complex geopolitical landscape. Recent global crises, not only what we are witnessing in Ukraine, but also the deepening and long-standing and devastating conflicts in the Middle East and Africa, may be signs that we are entering an extended turbulent period. This highlights the need for greater dialogue, trust building, and multilateral approaches. In our department's own reflections on the future of peace operations, we have identified 6 trends that are affecting conflicts: competition versus cooperation, protracted internationalized armed conflicts, blurred lines between war and peace, weakening of universalist norms, climate change, and socio-economic inequality. The UN cannot address such trends alone. Partnerships, including with other global, regional and sub-regional international organizations, will be critical. A foremost example of such partnerships is, and will continue to be, the UN-African Union cooperation in peace operations. Peace operations in Africa are facing many of the trends I described earlier. And in recent years, several peace operations have been operating in contexts where there is little peace to keep and where robust action is often required to implement mandates on the protection of civilians. They also operate in environments compounded by terrorist activities, threats such as IED, as well as mis- and disinformation and hate speech. No single organization can effectively address such challenges on its own. Integrating the strength of the UN and the AU, together with sub-regional organizations and networks, has become an indispensable part of our response to crisis in Africa. Synergies allow for stronger political leverage and cumulative impact. Considering the limitations of UN doctrine regarding peace enforcement and counter-terrorism, the AU's peace support operations are a key tool. The initiatives in the Sahel, the Lake Chad Basin, and Somalia illustrate this. And here, I want to pay tribute to the commitment, courage, and sacrifices of AU personnel who often spearhead the action of the international community. It is important to recall that effective and efficient partnerships in peacekeeping depend on the alignment of strategic and political objectives. Peacekeeping is, first and foremost, a political tool. In this regard, the leverage of both the UN and AU is enhanced when we undertake coordinated and complementary efforts. And this requires progress on the UN Secretary General's call for ensuring predictable, flexible, and sustainable financing for AU peace support operations authorized by the Security Council. This would enable us to maximize our collective efforts and continue to ensure a coherent framework for global peacekeeping. I believe that such an approach fits within the broader framework that the UN Secretary General has laid out in his Our Common Agenda report that represents his vision on global cooperation over the next 25 years. That report also called for a new agenda for peace. We, in UN peacekeeping, together with partners in the UN system, member states, global civil society, and other stakeholders, are working to develop this new agenda. A key issue emerging is how to respond to the confluence of new security threats and challenges that we will confront in the coming years. Whether a climate-driven emergency or the increasing use of cyber and digital weapons, these challenges demand innovative responses. To answer this, it is important to continue to imagine the operational roles that the United Nations and its partners can play in the future. And already, in its 75th anniversary, peacekeeping has reinvented itself time and time again. The future should be no different. At the same time, we will also continue to pursue our efforts to support existing operations, whether politically or operationally. We are doing this through the Action for Peacekeeping, or A4P initiative, launched by the Secretary General in 2018 to strengthen our impact and delivery. For our solutions to be sustainable, we also need to ensure these responses are inclusive, taking into account the specific needs and experiences of women and girls. Together with Member States, our actions must continue to recognize the disproportionate effect of conflicts on women and girls, as well as their unique ability to bring about positive change when they have their rightful seat at the table. UN peacekeeping's presence on the ground still remains the clearest signal of collective solidarity for war-torn countries. I believe that we must reinvigorate belief in the UN flag as a source of hope, change and support, and can do this only by rendering our existing operations more effective. My hope is that our efforts through A4P can reinforce the support of Member States for UN peacekeeping operations, even as the geopolitical environment and the nature of conflict grow increasingly complex. As we look to the future, it is important to continue together to imagine the possible. We must seek ways to inject a spirit of creativity, inclusivity, and boldness to ensure that we do not miss opportunities for peace. We look to you all to collaborate with us to find solutions to some of our most urgent and complex challenges. Thank you.